Is he watching it right now?
Who's he?
He's watching it.
Why would my dad be watching our class?
Well, because
Okay, we're live.
We're live, guys.
Hello, Sydney. Hope you feel better.
What
Okay.
time is it?
Heart.
Sit down.
What time is it? You're alive at whatever time it is. Oh, there's no Daniel in the Bible. There's no Daniel.
There's no Daniel in the Bible? Okay.
Oh, there's no Daniel.
Then never mind, don't turn to Daniel because there's no Daniel in the Bible.
Actually, we're not finding Daniel. Where's Daniel?
Okay, so.
Yeah.
Be quiet, sit
What
down.
page is Daniel on?
Hey, Maggie, sit down.
Can you find Daniel for me, tabs? But there's no Daniel.
It's pretty good. Didn't even use the tabs. Straight to Daniel. Now find chapter 6, verse 10. Okay, so we're going to talk about one of the most common stories.
Shoot a monkey. Ah.
So, Daniel was very much favored by the king. Okay, the king liked Daniel more than he liked all of his other noblemen. Okay, so the other noblemen who were jealous of
We're
Daniel.
almost done with the first Old Testament.
You're killing me, Smalls. You're a little talking. So the other noblemen, the other servants of the king, were very upset with Daniel. And so they went to the king, or they thought amongst themselves and said, we got to figure out a way to get Daniel in trouble. But the problem is he won't break any law that the king gives. He's too trustworthy. He's too good of a guy. So what we have to do is make him break a law against his God, because he won't do that. And so their plan was to tell King Darius, you're the greatest king of all time, and we think that no one should pray to any other god or any other person except for you. And so what does Daniel do? We're going to see in chapter 6, verse 10. Okay, so it's after a decree goes out that said, anybody who prays to anybody except for King Darius will be thrown into the den of lions, which is literally just this pit that has lions in it. Okay? Read, Maggie.
6:10. Okay. Now when Daniel learned that the decree had been published, he went home to his upstairs room with the windows open towards Jerusalem. 3 times a day he got down on his knees and prayed, giving thanks to his God, just as he had done before.
Okay, so the decree goes out. Daniel knows that if he prays and gets caught, he is going to be thrown in the lion's den. Okay, does Daniel close his doors and go underneath his bed to pray?
No.
No, he does it out in the open. Okay, he's not ashamed of praying to his God. So, first thing that made Daniel brave, what do you think it is? From what we just now learned.
They prayed out to the world.
Prayer. Okay? So this goes in your book, and then you can put it on your review guide later. What? What? So number 1, the first thing that makes Daniel brave is his prayer. Okay? His consistent, 3 times a day he prayed to God.
What is this? Where does it go?
What says 6:10?
That's my pencil. Oh, I gotta tell a story.
No, we'll do that later.
I
Okay,
get good stories.
Savannah, read chapter 6, verse 23. So now, he's gone the whole night in the den of lions. Okay, hopefully you know the story, but if not, here it is. Stop chewing that. You're going to break your teeth. Then an angel comes down and basically closed the mouth of the lions. Okay, so there's no way the lions could eat Daniel. So Daniel was able to survive in a den full of lions throughout the entire night. And so afterwards, whenever the king comes back to check on him, this is what happens. Read.
The king was overjoyed and gave orders to lift Daniel out of the den. And when Daniel was lifted from the den, no wound was found on him, because he had trusted in God.
Okay, so according to that, what is the second thing that made Daniel brave?
God. He trusted in God.
Trusted in God.
So trust.
Trust in God.
Did we put all of them, or just one?
All of them. He trusted in God.
Wait, where does that go on you guys?
Don't worry about it. She's doing that. She's not supposed to be doing that. I already told her not to do it, but she doesn't listen to me.
Oh, she just said to do it in the book.
Nope. I said put it. I said put it in the book, and then we'll put it in the review guide later. Okay, and then the last one. Daniel chapter 6, verse 4 through 5. Okay, go ahead. Caitlin, Savannah, and Maggie, right?
6.
4 through 5, and then Maggie, you can read verse 22 right after that.
Okay. At this, the administrators in this
Satraps.
And the satraps tried to find grounds for charges against Daniel and his conducted government affairs, but they were unable to do so. They would find no corporation in him because he was trustworthy and neither corrupt nor
Negligent.
no.
Okay, that's good. That's all we need. So, like I already kind of told you, they're looking for some way to find fault with Daniel. They're looking at something that he does in his life so that they can go to the king and say, this guy's a bad person, needs to be arrested because he did this. Okay? But it says there in verse 4, again, reading it, said, they could find no corruption in him because he was trustworthy and neither corrupt nor negligent. Now read verse 22, Maggie.
But God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me, because I was found innocent in his sight. Nor have I done any wrong before you, your majesty.
Okay, so what do you think is the last thing that made Daniel brave?
His bravery.
Yeah, but what made him brave? You can't be his bravery. His bravery can't make him brave.
The angel?
No.
God.
Read the last.
Innocent?
He was innocent, okay? God, yes, but read the last sentence of verse 4.
He didn't do any wrong, and he knew it. He respected his king.
That he would find no corporation
No corruption, and
what?
because he was what?
in him because he was trustworthy.
Trustworthy, okay?
What verse is
So,
that?
that's from verse 4. So, y'all said he didn't do anything wrong, okay? The way that we're going to phrase didn't do anything wrong is he had good character, okay? So he always did right. Someone who has good character is somebody who follows the rules of the school or their work or their home, wherever they are. They follow the rules even if no one's watching them, okay? And then his trustworthiness. Okay, these are not the same kind of trust, these two. Okay, this is trust in God. So this is Daniel putting his trust in God. Then I can trust that whenever I say there's a test, that Caitlin's going to come prepared, ready to take the test. Because the last 4 tests, she's come prepared. So she's trustworthy to do that. Okay? So, is it bad or is it a sin that Daniel knew the new decree that you should only pray to King Darius, and he knew the consequences of breaking that decree, but he still did it? Is that a sin? Because he was given laws from the government, from his king, and he broke it.
Because they followed God. No.
Okay, exactly. So, and we saw that same thing with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Whenever they were told to bow down to the fiery furnace, but they refused to do it. Okay? God does tell us to follow the law, right? Those who have been put in authority. And the Bible tells us that everyone in authority has been placed there by God. So whether you like it or not, whether you love your teachers or dislike your teachers, or love your coach or dislike your coach, they've been put in authority over you by God for a reason. Whether you're someone who loves our president or you dislike the president, doesn't matter. They've been put in authority over you by God. Okay, and so we're called to obey them. But like we see in Daniel, through Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and Daniel, if the laws that are given from the government, or law which is found in the Bible, then we're called to a higher standard not to follow it, right? So if then you're going to be in treason against the president,
So all of
you'll
us
be thrown in jail.
So all of us would be thrown in jail.
Basically, I'll be thrown in jail, okay? But it's
Unless you bow down.
unless you bow down. But again, we're told we're held to a higher standard, a biblical standard that says, do not worship idols, do not bow down and worship any other god but the one true God. Okay, so that's an important thing to know with Daniel. Yes, he was rebellious to the new decree that the king had put out, but he was only rebellious to that decree because he was following the higher law, which is God's law. Okay? Okay, Nebuchadnezzar's dream. This, what you're about to fill out here on this table, is your essay question. Okay, you've probably already read it, and we're going to go over an essay on this test. It's an actual essay. So it's for 20 material. And each material has specific symbolism to go with it. Okay, so like the head. The head of the statue is made out of gold. Okay, gold is obviously very expensive. It's very illustrious. It looks good. It's strong. Okay, that connects to the Babylonian Empire. Okay, that's going to be the first empire that rules the world, basically. Okay, each of these is going to be the most powerful empire or the most powerful government or the most powerful kingdom in the world at this time. Okay, so first is going to be the Babylonian Empire. Then the dream is the chest and arms were made out of silver. Okay, which means, and interpreted to predict, the Medo-Persian Empire. Okay, would be the second empire to rule. And if you'll remember, we talked about the Babylonian Empire, and then the Persian Empire came in and took them over. Okay, that's why we have Esther. Esther's part of the Persian Empire. And that was after the Babylonians were overtaken by the Persians. The third one is the belly and thighs of brass or bronze. Okay, if either one you put on the test, I don't care, it's fine. If you want to put bronze, that's fine. If you want to put brass, that's fine. But that's the Greek Empire. That's really not much to say about that. Okay, what kind of pillar did we say that Jeremiah was?
Iron.
Iron pillar. Okay, why do you think it was an iron pillar?
Because he was strong.
Because it's strong. Okay, iron's incredibly strong. And so the legs were made out of iron. And that iron represents the Roman Empire. Okay, we know from the time of Jesus, we know from your studies of history, and you'll learn more as you get into deeper level histories, that the Roman Empire was incredibly powerful. It was the most powerful empire for a long time. It was the richest empire, had the most people, the best army. Okay, it overtook a lot of the world in its time as the main empire. Okay, so it was very strong. And Daniel's predicting that through this dream. And then you see here the crumbling Roman Empire, and the feet made of iron and clay. Okay, what is something about clay that you know? Is it strong or weak?
Weak.
Very weak. Okay, if you have a clay pot and you drop it, it breaks. Okay, so iron's very strong and clay's very weak. Okay, Abraham Lincoln said during the Civil War that a house divided cannot stand. Okay, what that basically means is if you have a government or even a house or a school or a church where the leading parties are divided, then it's not going to work. Okay, if your mom and your dad, or let's just say if Coach Neal and Mrs. Futrell, our two principals, okay, if they are butting heads all the time and trying to change what someone puts in, like if Coach Neal makes a new rule, Mrs. Futrell hates that rule and she tries to change it, or Mrs. Futrell puts in a new rule and Coach Neal hates that rule and he tries to change it, okay, our school's not going to be able to stand because it has the two leaders are butting heads and having arguments constantly. And so that's what happens in the Roman Empire with the iron and the clay. They mix together and they have a very strong iron and a very weak clay. And these two powers begin to argue, they begin to complain against one another, and eventually the Roman Empire crumbles and falls. Okay, then at the end of the dream, for those who read it, it talks about this giant rock that is thrown onto the statue and turns into a mountain. And that mountain's going to last forever. What do you think that mountain and that rock symbolizes?
Wait, what?
So this statue is all the great empires that are going to rule in the world. Okay? And at the very end of the dream, the statue that was made out of all these materials is crushed by a giant rock that turns into a mountain. And that mountain lasts forever. What do you think?
God.
Okay, God. God's what?
Angels.
Okay, these are all empires or kingdoms, so God's
Kingdom.
kingdom. Okay, God's kingdom, right? We know through Jesus Christ that His kingdom is going to be an everlasting kingdom. And that's the symbolism of the rock crushing the statue. That rock, Jesus' kingdom is going to crush all of these empires and is going to be the strongest and the most long-lasting empire to ever rule the world. Okay? And this is way before Jesus even comes, is another example of someone who's prophesying about Jesus' coming. And he's also prophesying about the end times whenever Jesus' kingdom is going to take over and it's going to rule for eternity. Okay? Like the mountain, like the rock did. So that's your essay. If you're able to recreate this table on the essay, you'll make 100. Okay? Or not 100, but you'll get 20 points from the essay.
Wait, so forget that?
Don't forget this. You need to know all of this. You need to know each level, head, chest, arms, belly, thighs, legs, feet, and then you need to know what each one, like what material it's made out of, and then know the interpretation. And then you need to put down here at the bottom what the rock symbolizes, or the mountain that was put on and destroyed the statue. Okay, I'm still trying to decide if I'm just going to give you a blank piece of paper, or if I'm going to give you that chart right there. Right now I'm leaning towards giving you the chart, and you just have to fill it out, and then write down at the bottom, Jesus' empire or Jesus' kingdom is symbolic of the rock.
What would you put for right there?
Right where?
Can we just draw the chart?
Because I just
If
added.
y'all want to draw the chart on your paper, that's fine. But what you can also do is just write, look to page 163.
Yeah.
So you don't have to write it again. That's what I would do. I would just write, look to page 163 on your essay, and that's going to be your answer. Okay?
I've already drawn it.
So you'll get this chart. I'll recreate it just like this on the test, and you'll have to tell me each body part, each material that the body part was made out of, and then what each body part means, what each material means. And so what I want you to kind of know is, if you just write this chart and then put at the bottom, Jesus' kingdom is like the rock that will rule forever. Okay, that's probably like 17 or 16 points. Okay, if you can think about things like the Roman Empire was incredibly strong, and so it was iron, which is very strong. And the Roman Empire ruled for a long time. That's great. And then on the iron and clay, you can say iron's very strong and clay's very weak. And so when those two mix, it causes issues and begins to crumble. And so that symbolizes the crumbling Roman Empire. And then tell me that Jesus' kingdom will rule forever. We good? Any questions on that? If you have any questions, tell me now. That's your class. Your test is next class period. Good? Everybody good? You're good, Savannah? You're good, Caitlin?
Wait, so we just have to fill out the chart?
What?
So we're just gonna have to fill out the chart?
And then
Please.
add explanations.
Kingdom
Yeah.
is the symbol of the mountain and judgment.
So that's basically the essay.
Yes. And then you'll add stuff. You need to add other information like
Could you put God's kingdom is rules over every other kingdom?
yeah, you can put that forever. Yeah, you can put that. So just everything you know about this dream and its interpretation, I write it down. So anything that you can add is, I'm not going to take off points because you tried to explain something about the Babylonian Empire and you were wrong. Okay, I may correct it, but I won't take off points for that.
Are there going to be bonus?
Huh?
Is there going to
It
be
will always be bonus. 2 about me and 1 about something that was that we studied about, but that I did not give you in the review guide.
Wait.
So that you have a pretty good idea of what may be on the bonus. Okay, so review guides are out. Let's go over this. These are the answers to the review guide. And if she can't hear you, I'm going to repeat it, but it's better that she hears it a
Is
couple
she
times.
in there right now?
I don't know.
Hi, Sydney.
Okay, so Unit 8 Test Review Guide. Remember, the test is made up from this. I take the same questions, and then I just make it into multiple choice or into true and false. So if you know this review guide, you're going to do great on the test. If you know the review guide about halfway, and you know some parts, well, you may do okay. If you don't know the review guide at all, you're not going to do very well. So, the definition of Messiah is what?
Anointed one.
Anointed one, or what else? And matching to do,
Well,
it'd be a
that's
freebie.
obvious.
Now the fill in the blank. Remember, fill in the blank will be turned either to multiple choice or true and false. So don't just study the blank. Make sure you know all of the sentence.
Wait. Are we gonna raise our hand and you call on us or just shout it out?
I will call on you and point at you. You don't need to raise your hand, but I'll call on whoever I want.
When's our American Studies test?
That's not really that important right now. Okay, Isaiah prophesied to the nation of what, Jessica? Judah. Okay, the southern kingdom, the nation of Judah. Who else prophesied to the nation of Judah? What other prophet we talked about? Isaiah and the very next book in the Bible.
No.
Jeremiah. Okay, Isaiah and Jeremiah both prophesied to the nation of Judah.
Jeremiah's after Isaiah.
Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel. Yeah. Isaiah warned this nation that they would be enslaved because the people. Second one is idols. Okay, remember